Good afternoon, Tom Johnson, along with Mayor Sue Kemp. Good afternoon, Sue. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Enjoying this wonderful weather?
Warm. A
Put
lot
a
warm.
cold compress on your head and get through the day. Listen, big thing coming up this week. It's the open house on the Laguna Canyon Road project.
Right.
Tell me about the open house and then what you're expecting to accomplish there.
Okay, let me just give a little context. So this isn't the first time we've been talking about Laguna Canyon Road. This has been going on since 2014 when I think Councilmember Whalen and then Councilmember Eisman said, let's have a Laguna Canyon Road task force. And we had a bunch of organizations involved, residents, organizations involved, organizations in the canyon, other places around town. And then we had some of the agencies, OCTA, we had, I think, Edison. And it was a year-long process. And so at the end, they created a document. Then if you fast forward to 2019, where we have a lot of concern about the above ground power lines in the canyon. And in 2019, we sent a letter from the city of Laguna Beach. I think Bob Whalen signed that letter, and he was asking for a number of things. It was actually sent to Governor Newsom. We were asking for legislation to prioritize undergrounding of utilities in high fire zone areas, also in areas where they're considered to be an evacuation route, like Laguna Canyon Road is. And some other things, joint funding for undergrounding between the local governments, the state, and Edison. Actually, they tried to put a bill through, Councilmember Whalen at the time and Senator Morlock co-sponsored a bill, but we didn't get it through the legislature. So there's been a lot of work on our part on Laguna Canyon Road for a long period of time. So then in 2021, we did a survey of the community on a bunch of things, and one was on Laguna Canyon Road. And they asked a number of questions, like, if we take over Laguna Canyon Road from Caltrans, would you favor making it safe for pedestrians? And that polled at about 80%. The same with bicyclists. Then it talked about, transit improvements, and then undergrounding Laguna Canyon Road. And undergrounding, they all came off at 80%, around just about 80%. Laguna Canyon Road for undergrounding came in 86%. So a lot of people concerned about it. Now, having said that, we have a subcommittee on Laguna Canyon Road, and that's Councilmember Whalen and Mayor Pro Tem Renagi have been working on that for a couple of years, almost 2 years now. And so we've been having these Protect and Connect open houses, and we're having the second one on Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30 at Suzy Q. And the purpose of that is just to gather more information about what people would like to see on the roadway. So they're going to have tables out. You can come anytime between 6:30 and 8. It's not a formal presentation. It's just kind of a walk around thing. You can look at different examples, storyboards and stuff on the wall. But I just want to, remind the community that this is just information gathering. I mean, whether or not we would take over Laguna Canyon Road, would we do, there's probably going to be a range of options. Doing nothing would be one. There might be a bunch of other things. I'm not on the subcommittee, so I'm not privy to all this stuff, but I can tell you that, if we were to take over Laguna Canyon Road, it would be a big deal for our town. That'd be something we'd have to have a lot of discussions with the community about what the benefits and the risks would be, and we'd have to weigh all that. So that's a ways out. That's not going to be a decision that's going to be made anytime soon. In terms of the, particulars about it, I don't know. And the city attorney's asked us, we're not on the subcommittee, not to go to these open houses, so I'm not going to go to those. But anyway, knowing what I know, I was talking with the city manager about this. This is kind of that's the process. And then there's another thing that people are worried about, because there's something called a relinquishment. So we put in a relinquishment letter with Caltrans, and that's just to do our data collection. In other words, we want to talk about what's the cost, what's the liability, what roadway improvements could we make, what would their compensation be, what would Edison's part be? I mean, it's a complicated project. So people tend to get ahead of themselves when they hear that, like, oh, what are you guys doing? We're not going to do anything right now. We're just doing our homework, which is what the survey asked. When we surveyed the community, that's what they asked us to do.
Well, I think it's obviously a great thing. Laguna Canyon Road affects pretty much everybody in Laguna Beach one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I think it's kudos to the city council for getting out there and doing your due diligence and really talking to the people. So good thing. People should participate. Again, the time and place, Suzy Q at what time?
6:30 to 8:30 on Thursday.
Great, great. Another big thing that's happened in town in recent weeks is the switch to CR&R from Waste Management. We've talked
Right.
about it before. You know, like anything else, change brings a little bit of confusion, a little bit of
Yeah.
unrest. People don't get used to it. How are we doing with that segue?
Well, our staff's working really hard with CR&R. I think there's been a few curveballs that, were kind of unanticipated. One was the bin sizes. A lot of people got the, wrong bin sizes. And I think when the waste management transition occurred, when they sent their data over, their data wasn't consistent about what people had on the ground. So we've had to correct all that. So that's one thing. And then we publicized pretty widely that, that you'd be getting a separate bill, because before that, it was embedded in your property tax bill, and that came out in July 1st. And people probably didn't realize that, because if you're not scrutinizing that bill very closely, you wouldn't see it. So we did this transition coincident with the new property tax year, July 1st, so that there wouldn't be no double billing. But what people didn't realize was going to happen was, and we communicated this, but of course not everybody hears all this, and they're not, people are living their lives. They don't listen to every single thing the city of Laguna Beach says. So you get one catch-up bill, I think, in August, and then we go on quarterly billing. Now, in terms of the rates are higher than what we had with Waste Management. But when we were doing the negotiations for the new contract, the Waste Management charges were going to be higher than CR&R. And I think there's a couple $12 million over the course of the 8-year contract or something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but it's something like that. And then we had the offset too, was that residents get a lot more benefits. So you get 4 heavy pickups a year, like you put your heavy stuff outside and they pick it up. You get 4 instead of 2, and they'll come to your house and pick up hazard materials 4 times a year. And you can get 125 pounds of compost, material. I mean, there's a lot of benefits, but we'll get to the benefits after we get everything, kind of corrected. So what I've been telling people is, and I've been involved with some residents, I've been talking to residents about this, so I'm very familiar with it. But what I would advise residents, with their bins, to contact CR&R and let them know what bin size you have. So that just eliminates any confusion as a precaution. And then you can call them directly too, because there's a Laguna Beach dedicated lines. You can call them. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. Oh, here, I have it right here. 949-662-3819. So, but once again, the staff's working hard on it. We have 2 people working on it. And I know it's frustrating for residents, but we'll get it taken care of.
Again, it's just a change deal, but to
Yeah.
just reiterate, if your bill is higher, know that if it would have continued on with the old way of life, with the old company, it would have been even higher. So
That's right.
and plus you have benefits now. So good stuff. Okay, a couple of things. We have a DUI checkpoint this Friday night from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Nobody should ever be drinking and driving around town or whatever, but it's just a good heads up. It makes our community safer. Any comments on that, Sue?
No, I'm glad they're doing it. People shouldn't drink and drive in a time where you can have Uber or Lyft, or you can take, if you live in town here, you can take the Laguna Beach local and get home. There's no reason to drink and drive. I love it when we catch these people, and people think, well, it's also people passing through on Coast Highway. So, coming through from wherever they're going, or wherever they're going or where they're coming from, we get that too. I'm very happy with all the police work we've been doing lately, because we've been doing those loud vehicle,
Yes.
Kind of processes with the adjacent cities. And we've had 4 of those, and we've caught a bunch of people. Not only that, but speeding, a few e-bike tickets, and, just bad behavior. So I really like that we're doing it.
Well, whether it's that loud vehicle arrest type, things, whether it's DUI checkpoints or whatever, it's letting people know that use our town, whether you're residents or people that come in, that we require it to be a safe town and, a respect for the law. So I think it's a great thing. And, but it's a heads up to people that this Friday, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., will be a DUI checkpoint at an undisclosed location. So that's going to go on out there. Last thing is, Monday was Labor Day. Nice pancake breakfast. Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was great. Weather was great. The fire department they have new barbecues. I mean, they're much nicer for them because I don't think they're quite as hot standing, they stand back there from, what was it, 7 to 11, cooking pan.
Right.
But they have new barbecues, they're much more efficient. And I asked them how these working out for you guys. They said, great, we're so much better than what we used to have. Yeah, but we had a pretty good turnout. It's a nice event, friendly, got to see some people that I don't often get to see, and it was great, really
Great.
good.
Well, once again, I thank you for your time and stay cool out there. It's getting warm and it's gonna get warmer. Uh,
Yep,
but people just take care of yourselves and drink a lot of fluid. Everybody will be fine. Thanks so
yep.
much, Sue.
Thanks, Tom, appreciate it. See you next week.